Hello, beautiful people. A little different scenery. It's in my dining room. I just was going to say hello and share with you some of my favorite gardening homesteading books that I have been reading. 3 of them are new that I just got last week that I finished 2 by the same author, and I haven't really read the 3rd one. I've checked it out. It's a pest book, so when I have issues, probably looking into that. All right, so these first 2 books, this first book is I've had for a really long time. I think this was probably one of my first books that I bought, gardening books, Fresh Food from Small Spaces. It's really nice. It's just basically exactly what the title says, teaching you how to, excuse me, grow food in a small area, like if you lived in an urban area in the city or something. The table of contents in this one are creating a food system for your space, deciding what to grow in your garden space, how to build or buy or build productive vegetable containers. Recipes in here for certain things, making kimchi, how to make sauerkraut, making yogurt, lentil burgers, stuff like that. Preserving your bounty, planting trees or for growing fruit and berries in your space. It talks about raising chickens and honeybees in the city, making compost and partnering with worms, survival during resource shortages. So it's got a lot of really cool information. So this was really a nice one that I got. The authors R.J. Rupenthal. This next book is a good one too. It's called Modern Homesteading. It's kind of the same lines as this one, but this one just has a little bit more information in it. There's instructions in here on constructing a chicken coop and a chicken run, and it's a little bit more in-depth on that kind of stuff. Buying seed starts, where to get them, your garden planning, amending soil, yeah, all sorts of things in here. This is a pretty cool one. How to have bees, and how to have livestock, goats and ducks and chickens. Homesteading stuff, which is pretty cool. It's a nice one. This book's a really cool one, and there's this book and the next book I put in with these that really don't pertain to like gardening per se, but these are important to me because I feel like I'm growing a lot of herbs and stuff like that, and I do herbalism and I do make medicine and things like that, so this is a great book for that. Basically in here it tells all about herbs and how to use them, what they're used for. Then it has recipes, basic herbal salve, insect repellent spray, talks about echinacea, black walnut, like all of those healing herbs. Yarrow, there's a herbal cough syrup recipe in here, talks about peppermint, resources that you need for herbalism, vinegars, all sorts of stuff, how to eat greens, wild greens, pesto. So yeah, and then it goes in and talks about plants discussed in the chapter, burdock root, dandelion, and then it gives you like all the botanical name, which is great, the family, native locations, growing zones, all sorts of stuff, what it's good for, preparations, contradictions, all sorts of really great things. Like violet is on the next page, which is an edible flower. So yeah, this is a really cool book. If you like herbalism or anything like that, this is a really great one. And this next book is super awesome. So I am a huge believer in mushrooms. I love mushrooms anyway, just to eat them. I do eat plant-based, so a lot meat substitutes I use, mushrooms. There's so many different types of mushrooms, and you can grow a lot of them at home. So this year I have actually grown mushrooms at home. So I am going to do that again this year, and then I'm going to try to grow some out in my garden beds. And I actually think I might order some wine cap mushrooms, which are an outdoor mushroom, and some shiitake logs to do too. Because I just think it's really cool. How cool would it be to have a cool little mushroom garden? And we have some like shadier spots that I think that I could utilize for that. So this is healing mushrooms. I take mushrooms every single day. I take a blend of 7. Paul Stamets, a huge mushroom person here in Washington State, and he lives in Olympia on the other side of the mountains. I love him. I also microdose with mushrooms. So I'm taking this, reishi, lion's mane, maitake, chaga, Massima, which I'm not sure what that one is. I haven't heard of that. The Royal Sun Blaze, or Blaze, and Cordyceps. So all amazing. I mean, I'm not going to go into, I could do a whole nother video on mushrooms and the power of mushrooms and the healing power of mushrooms and all sorts of really cool things, but maybe I'll do that at a later date. If y'all are interested, let me know. This is a half teaspoon is the serving size. My coffee in the morning, and just make my coffee like normal with my soy milk and coconut sugar, and put this in there, and it's great. I love it. So mushrooms are super awesome, and they're super good for you. In this book too, it's a lot of recipes, talks about all the mushrooms and the types of mushrooms, dosages, what they're good for, all of the things mushrooms that I like to eat are creminis, portobellos, maitake, shiitakes, lion's mane, trumpet mushrooms are really good. I think they're called enoki mushrooms, pretty much all the mushrooms, oyster mushrooms. And I just love the mushrooms. All right, and then this is a fun little book that's called 101 Organic Gardening Hacks. Talks a lot about like hack a strawberry garden from an old light fixture. So it gives you like recycled materials that you can utilize for stuff in your garden. These are really beautiful. How to build a raised bed, cheap tricks for managing weeds, harvesting tomato seed bounty. Well, this one actually teaches you how to save seeds for your tomatoes, which is there's a little bit of a process for that. So that's pretty cool. Some of these, I have looked through all of these and skimmed through and read some front to back. Some I have not. Some I just pick up, and I kind of go through it and find what I need. So I'm going to be rereading this book again. Butterfly weed, which I've planted 3 milkweeds. So it's got pollinator hacks, harvesting rain hacks, water bottle hacks. In fact, I did this one last year. I got terracotta stakes that go and you put your wine bottles in them, and I put them in my my little round fabric pots, and they actually did fairly well. I kept them, so I'll probably utilize them again. Some pest situations in here, some trapping earwig, how to do hide an ugly wall or fence, build a garden tower. It's got some really cool stuff in it. Growing a living wall. So this one is pretty cool. Fun little book. Books actually I've read cover to cover. Pretty much. Maybe there was a couple little parts that I skimmed through that maybe didn't apply to me. Called Elliot Coleman's The 4-Season Harvest. I live in a climate where I get every season, for the most part. We get winter, we get fall, we get spring, we get summer. We get snow, and we get down to freezing temperatures in the winter. In the summer, we can hit over 100. 100 is not abnormal. So we really get all of them. So I'm really interested in doing 4-season harvesting all year long. You can do it. Now, you're not growing things in the winter time, but you have put things in place like cold frames, hoop houses, polytunnels, whatever it is around those fall vegetables that you've planted that are like broccolis and carrots and beets, root vegetables, and your kales. You're going to protect those with your cold frames and your polytunnels and yada yada. And then you will be harvesting all year long. So in the winter, when there is freezing temperatures, the ground's frozen, there's snow, your veggies will be protected because you've taken those measurements, and then you can go out, lift up your window frame, your polytunnel, whatever, and be harvesting fresh veggies and root vegetables throughout the winter time. When they say 4-season gardening or gardening in the winter or gardening year round, when they live in a cold climate like mine. I'm in a zone 5B to 6B. They say technically it's a 6B, really visual and hands-on, and I'm pretty ADD, so it has to really keep my interest. And this book, however, was a little bit boring to read because it has one little spot with a few little colored pictures here. You know, a few of them, but that's it. So it teaches you all about trellising and polytunnels and what to grow in the wintertime and frost hardy veggies and, you know, all of those things. So it was a very good book. I learned some things from it. For a mobile greenhouse that you could move around, all sorts of things. So this one was good. From a different author that I liked a little bit better because they were beautiful pictures. I just really liked the way they were laid out. So I would probably recommend these next two I'm going to show you over this one for that reason. It's by Nikki Jabor. She is in Nova Scotia, and it's called Year-Round Vegetable Gardener. I just read this book last week, and I love it. Absolutely beautiful pictures. She tells you what grows in cool season harvest, warm season harvest, harvesting from a cold frame. She talks kind of all about that kind of stuff. And then she goes into like different vegetables and how to grow them, how to care for them. Look at that. They're just really cool. Really helpful. Definitely recommend. Then the other book she wrote, Growing Under Cover. This one is really, really great. So in this book, she teaches you all about covering, what they are, what fabric cloth is, what insect netting is, what row cover things you can do. It was just as nice as the other one as far as with the pictures. She talks about cloches in here. She talks about frames, polytunnels, irrigation, watering them when they need to be watered, which you don't in the winter time, which is kind of nice. It's pretty hands-off. You're just really harvesting. Opening them when the weather warms up, you know, harvesting in the winter time, and then again, encouraging pollinators, and then I do think she goes into more of like growing guides for like to be undercover, when to use them, even in the summer. Tomatoes had curling, and now I know why they were dropping flowers, because they were too hot. Shade cloth, if I would have known that, I could have put shade cloth on them and they probably would have done good. They probably would have really liked it. I could have done like a 50% sun shade cloth on there in the late afternoon heat. Would have been a lot happier. And so I definitely recommend. Next book is really cool. It is more like a textbook type, the way it's laid out and how much content is in it. It's a lot. So this is definitely a book that I have not read cover to cover. I kind of pick it up, I kind of look through it, read a little bit here and there. It's called Gaia's Garden. Permaculture plans, what permaculture is, rain catchment with tables for plants for the forest garden, and like their botanical name, common name. This one's great if you're really into permaculture, you want to learn more about permaculture and how to let plants in the land work together. This book I'm really excited about for a couple reasons. It's really cool. I love the way it's laid out. It's got nice pictures. It's really easy to read. The author lives here where I'm from, in the same town as me, and she is a master gardener. She writes for a review paper. She actually this weekend was over in Seattle at the Home and Garden Show doing some speaks and lectures over there. Her name is Susan Mulvihill, and I got her Vegetable Garden Pest Handbook. So I'm hoping that this summer I'm going to try to see if maybe I can reach out to her, because I've talked to her a couple of times via Instagram, and see if maybe I can come out and tour her garden and get her to sign my book. And look at that nasty tomato hornworm right on the front. There's a little ladybug larva. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Yep. But it's got really cool pictures of her beautiful garden here in Spokane, all of the pests that we encounter and some non-pests. These eat the pests, the birds. Beautiful pictures, and then the bugs that like those plants. So she's really arming you with a lot of knowledge about the certain bugs that are really going to like the plants that you're planting and how to get rid of them. Is organic pest management. So then she has this section where she goes into how to manage the pest organically, covering, how to protect them. Very, there she is. Book signed, and go and see her beautiful garden. She does have a YouTube channel. It's called Susan's in the Garden. So if you want to check it out, check it out. A big stack of books that I think are super helpful. Have a great day, and remember, be kinder than necessary.